Hi, Siri. I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm going to go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to have JC as we normally do on Wednesday. We're bringing back Edgar Thompson. We had him early last week, but with the Jaden Rashada mess, he like every other reporter, they work on this thing nonstop. So we'll get his thoughts on it. I really don't have any thoughts, don't really care. It is what it is. It's been going on supposedly for over a year that he's been putting this lawsuit together. So take it for what it's worth. Gators lose last night. Like I said, it doesn't really matter in my opinion, and maybe I'm in the minority, but they're in the NCAA tournament, and whether you win or lose that game, it does not matter. Let's go to the Titan Tomorrow hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Good morning. I'm happy to be back. Thank you. And, first want to start off by just thanking the folks at Annandale Country Club in Madison, Mississippi. We're talking to John, Shelby, the other John, and my wonderful member Revel Rawlings, who hosts me up there, all the staff. Everything was really perfect. And our flight winner won the member guest. And with the covey, which is a pot of money that coincides with what a quail lives in, I guess, because this is called the quail hunt here, as you can see on this hat. Because our flight winner won the entire thing, everybody in the flight got money. So the way they did that was unique and it was fun. And so a lot of thanks. Wonderful Josh Bowen, unbelievable superintendent at Annandale, and I highly recommend you guys, if you're ever finding yourself in Ridgeland, Mississippi, or Madison, you make sure you go to Annandale.
Well, they have to know a member to play it, JC.
Well, they do, and that's true. But
call JC. Call JC or call me.
Let me know, and I'll get you on there. Having said that, I then therefore removed my beautiful quail hunt hat, and I put on the big Gator because we have a softball team playing in its 15th super regional in program history. I wanted to start off with that, QB, because you've got a player, Jocelyn Erickson, who's got 78 RBIs, and QB this weekend, if she has 3 RBIs like she did in the final game against South Alabama, if she has 3 RBIs, she will break Megan Bush's record of 80 RBIs that was set back in 2011. And think about how long ago 2011 was, even though it doesn't feel like it. It was 13 years ago that Megan Bush set this record. And here's Jocelyn Erickson, really close to doing it. I bet she does. The Gators are playing Baylor, a team that beat Lafayette, but a team that's lost 21 games. And I fully expect Florida to win the super regional and go to OKC.
Yeah, they should. Crazy things can happen. But as you mentioned, it's the 15th super regional in Tim's 20 years. Think about that.
It's stunning. I mean, it's 7. That would be 3 out of 4. So 75% of the time this man has coached the Florida team. 75% of the time he's done that. And
I want to say, I don't have it in front of me, but 14 of the 20 years. Have they gone to the World Series 14 of the 20 years?
I don't know that one.
Well, somebody can correct me on that.
Somebody could look that up. But 12 o'clock Friday against Baylor, ESPN2. If you can't make it, the place will be packed. Hopefully the weather will be comfortable, which I expect it will be. Maybe a little warm, but that's good because Florida will thrive. And I hope they wear those orange jerseys with the white pinstripes. That's what I'm looking for. That's my favorite outfit that they wear.
You know my favorite uniform they wear?
What's that?
It's all white.
Okay.
The white belt, the white stirrups.
Yeah.
And it's the football jersey that they wear. We're the only – Tim's been doing that for years, but it's the white football jersey. That's my favorite uniform.
It's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. John says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. I hope this wasn't CAG's last game, but the team you have said is not very good. They're not. And it has nothing to do with midweek games. It's a very average baseball team that is one game over 500, and they will get into the NCAA tournament, and they will be a 3 seed somewhere. I don't know where. I know some people commented yesterday that Steve Russell and Pat Dooley on their shows said they weren't convinced they're getting in. You're not going to change my mind. When you play the number 1 schedule in America, your RPI is like number 11 in America. You play in the toughest conference in America. You have one of the best players, if not the best player in America. You played for the national title last year. They ain't leaving you out.
Well, we'll find out Monday at 12 o'clock, and I agree with you. I think they'll make it as a 3 seed somewhere. One thing you can think about, folks, as Shane had mentioned with the RPI, is that they are 9-9 against teams that potentially will host regionals. That's 6 SEC teams that will potentially host regionals this year, and Florida has a 9-9 record against those 6 host teams. Okay, that's Arkansas, that's Tennessee, that is, those are teams that will likely host regionals, and there could be as many as 6 in this great conference. So the Gators have a 500 record against those schools. So maybe that's something that will tag on to the committee's mindset as they go through the schedule and the resume for the team.
Well, JC, I saw yesterday they put up like these 4 other squads. One was like North Carolina, Wilmington, Troy. You take nothing away from those programs. They're all on the bubble, so to speak. Again, as I mentioned, you're talking about a major influence, major team from a major conference, a major brand with a major league baseball player. You just don't leave them out. So Joseph wants to know, how did we get the hardest schedule of football and baseball? The university is against us.
Well,
this baseball season has reminded me a lot of football, quite honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they allow a lot of points. And the team, there's a couple games too, QB, where, a bad hop here, a bad bounce there. They were really close against Arkansas. They were really close against Kentucky of winning those series. Okay, they lost those series. They won one game, but just a bad bounce here, a bad break there, something odd that happens. And that can happen to teams that are 500 for sure. But that's really, if you look at that resume, you look at those games they played against these highly ranked teams, they had some moments there where you could say, well, man, my goodness, if we had just gotten a break, go the other way. Let me go back real quick to the softball, if I could. When you look at this super regional, it almost looks like an SEC tournament. Honest to God, you think about the teams, including Texas and Oklahoma, who will be joining the SEC next year. If you added those teams, you basically have one super regional that doesn't have an SEC team. For instance, Florida State's playing at Oklahoma. Okay, Florida State, the 2018 national champions.
Oklahoma's an SEC team.
And Oklahoma's an SEC team. Then you've got Duke at Missouri. You've got UCLA at Georgia. You've got Alabama and Tennessee playing each other at Tennessee. You've got Texas hosting Texas A&M. Think about that. You've got Stanford playing at LSU. All of these SEC teams are hosts. The only one that doesn't have a soon-to-be SEC team or an SEC team, for instance, is Arizona at Oklahoma State. That's the only super regional, which I think is the bracket that Florida would be up against should they win their super regional against Baylor, which I think they will win. So this College World Series, if you have 8 teams and you throw Oklahoma and Texas in there as SEC teams, it's an SEC final. That's what it is. Unless, of course, we're going to have Oklahoma State and Arizona playing it out. But, potentially Missouri could win at home. Georgia could beat UCLA in Athens. That's a long trip for the Bruins. You're going to have Alabama or Tennessee, most likely Tennessee. You're going to have Texas A&M possibly, or Texas, of course, and then LSU at home against Stanford. I love their chances there. So, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. People were talking about something about the pitching. I missed some of it. But, look, Gators didn't have great bats either. Okay. They could not hit the ball yesterday against Vanderbilt. All right, Dan, I appreciate Dan doing the research. The Lady Gators have been to the College World Series under Tim Walton 11 of his 20 years. Well, 11 of his 19. This is year 20, so should go up. They won the national title back-to-back twice, and they were the runner-up 3 times. both times I went, we were the runner up. So that's why I never go back.
You're not allowed.
I'm not allowed to go
You're
back.
banned. You're banned.
I'm banned. I'm banned to go to OKC because when we go, we always come in second. All right, here's a great question, and we're going to switch gears here, and we'll talk more about this with Ed, because that's why I wanted to get Edgar on. This is from Johnny. He says, "Good morning, Gators. Is there somewhere where I can go read the rules of the NIL? If a player transfers to a new school, can he leave that school and go to the highest bidder?" Yes. There are no rules. That's why a lot of people think this lawsuit really has nothing to stand on, because there are no rules or regulations. And
well, I think the lawsuit, but CQB, I think the lawsuit is based on signed paperwork. I think. I don't know.
Yes and no. I mean, Edgar will tell us more. Like I said, I'm not going to study and put a whole lot into it, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. There's nothing any of us can do. Here's what I will say about the whole thing. It's embarrassing as hell to me, as a former player, regardless of if it's my school or not. What's embarrassing is that we even thought about offering a kid more money than guys that have been 4 to 5 year vets in the National Football League would make in a contract. Think about that.
That's asinine.
Think about that. There are probably 80% of the players that play in the National Football League that won't make $13 million in 4 years.
Yeah. Now, I think Miami offered the guy something like $9 million, and it seemed like that was grossly egregious. And if there's, and then Florida's Hugh Hathcock and these other guys wanted to get into an arms race with the Miami people, and and the kid is saying, well, look, man, we had a signed deal here. It's created a lost opportunity for me, blah, blah, blah. He's got damages, at least is what he thinks. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody just said, here's $500,000, go away. And we'll call it even. So we'll see.
Well, supposedly they both agreed to part ways. Like I said, I don't know.
Yeah, it's lawsuit.
Will we ever know? Who knows? But it goes back to whether it was the Florida Gators, the Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama, Troy, I don't care. To offer any player that type of money, it's just comical to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. It is ridiculous. And I just can't imagine why anybody who has, even if you have, money that just doesn't matter to you, why you would give it away to something like this is just so stupid. And it just,
a lot of it was a lot of verbal agreements. And, in the state of Florida, I was briefly reading it, and I don't get into all this, but you can't record conversations, and I don't, whatever. We'll let Edgar fill us in on all that.
All right.
I'm sure Edgar hasn't slept, because that's what these beat guys do.
Tell you who else doesn't want us to sleep is these people that televise these professional playoff games, the NBA, NHL, these games that go to 11 o'clock. My God, 11:30. And maybe this is my age talking here, and it probably is, because I used to probably not care. But I could barely stay awake watching what was really a pretty exciting basketball game last night between Indiana and Boston. And I just kept thinking to myself in the last 3 minutes of the game, when there was a timeout here, a break in the action here, a contested foul there, I can't watch this. And so I actually turned off overtime and went to bed, and I'm a Celtics fan. Now, that's just a bad sign for either me or the people that they want to pay for this stuff. But
I watched the first quarter, and that was it. And it was blowout city when I went to bed. Yeah. And apparently Indiana had the game won and gave it away with some dumb play. I don't even know what happened.
Okay, so they were up 3 with about 10 seconds left, and they let Jaylen Brown take a 3-pointer instead of just fouling the guy. And so what did he do? He made it right in front of their bench. And then off we go into overtime, and that's when Boston kind of ran away with it. But this could be a very good series. It could go 6 or 7 games without a doubt. I think Indiana is very, very good basketball team. And I also think that Dallas series is going to be exciting as well. But with Minnesota, who I still can't believe is still playing, but they're looking at a 6 or 7 game series there. And then, of course, we get the hockey playoffs. Florida Panthers will be playing tonight the Dallas Stars and Edmonton will be playing tomorrow.
Comfort Tip Heating and Air is looking for an enthusiastic, motivated comfort specialist to join our team. $1,000 sign-on bonus after 90 days. Awesome benefits and the opportunity to grow with a winning team. Apply today at comforttemp.com. Comfort Tip. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. All right. Conyer Ron on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, how much involvement does Kirby Smart have in this lawsuit? I would say zero. It ain't like he signed with Georgia and let's do a lawsuit. This thing's been going on at Edgar will tell you for over a year.
Yes.
Michael says there was a clause written in the contract stating that the contract could be canceled by either party at any time. No questions asked.
Well, then, I mean, then what are we even talking about? Why is he?
Well, who knows? So we'll get all the answers that Edgar may have. If you have any questions for him, shoot them our way. Like I said,
I guess the optics of it is it's not the best thing in the world. I don't think anybody really cares, but if you're a Gator hater,
well, I agree. I agree with that. It's, by, publicity, bad timing, whatever you want to phrase it. But I will say this. Jaden Rashada, first of all the nonsense that went on when he was being recruited, not just by the Gators, but by Miami. He commits to Miami, then he backs out because they gave him more money. Then the Gators thing, and then he goes to Arizona State. Now it's a piece of crap. The whole thing.
It makes you wonder if the kid really wants to get better at the position, or if he's just in.
Well, the kid ain't very good, in my opinion. I watched him play, and it's Arizona State. I watched clips of it. Now I don't know if he'll ever take a snap for Georgia or not, but I think they're just looking to get paid.
Well, that's what I mean. If I'm that kid, I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to get better at this position so I can play and stay at a school that's going to help me develop so that maybe I get drafted, like, what they used to do in the old days. Now it's, okay, give me a signing bonus so that I can show up on campus. It's just goofy. And it's not, I think, in anyone's best interest to do it this way. And I think we'll see some sort of resolution. Georgia doesn't need him to win games. They've got so many damn athletes and players on that roster, and they've got Carson Beck coming back. So don't worry about Georgia. I don't think anybody is, actually. And it'll be nice to see Georgia actually play some road games that are difficult this year. At Texas, at Alabama, Mississippi, all these kinds of things.
Yeah, it's somewhat comical to me. All right, JC, let's get to our Peachland Dental. Gator Nation's #1 choice.
Did you pick Shoffley last week, or did I?
I will recap. My squad: Brooks Koepka, Victor Hovland, Xander Shoffley, Hideki Matsuyama.
You had Xander.
All made the cut. 2 of them played outstanding. 1 of them won it. Yeah. JC's roster: Rory McIlroy, who has about a 6-hole stretch every round that's like the best in the history of golf, and then he goes away. Yeah. Jason Day, Colin Morikawa, who played really well, and Scotty. So we had good rosters.
Yeah, we did. I think DeChambeau showed me something this weekend that it makes me think I kind of wish he wasn't on a LIV tour, because I don't. Well,
I feel like I mentioned this Monday, JC.
I do not.
I've never liked DeChambeau.
No, you haven't.
I think I do like him now. He's lost weight. He's not on all the juice. He's not on the juice anymore.
Huh.
He changed hats. He's not wearing the Payne Stewart silly looking hat.
Okay.
His attitude is different. They even mentioned it on the broadcast the whole time. I really think that dude wants to come back to the regular tour.
I think he does, and I think he would enjoy himself more. It's the money shouldn't be an issue in these people's lives anymore. It should just be about being in front of folks, being in front of people and competing for golf wins, not in Singapore. Okay. Nobody cares about a tournament in Singapore or Nice, France. It's about competing on this tour in this country in front of these fans that pay the money that enables these guys to do this for a living. And as far as this tournament goes, Scheffler, Shoffley, will you remember this tournament more for Shoffley winning his first major or for Scotty Scheffler being arrested and arraigned?
Well, I think both.
Yeah, I think both too. But I think if you're a golf fan, you have to love what Shoffley did, especially on that hole he had to birdie, and he was great. It was a great thing to watch too, QB. I know you hate the 20 under par thing, but let's be honest, it was exciting to watch.
PGA, it was very exciting, but the damn golf course was a joke.
Yeah, but the PGA, I think you'd have to admit, of the 4 majors, and people really overlook this. I think the PGA gives us the most entertainment value of all 4, truthfully, in terms of competitive and finishes. We've had so many great finishes, Sergio and Tiger, Rich Beam and whoever it was, and Tiger and somebody. I mean, the PGA gives us so much exciting finishes, so many exciting finishes throughout the history of the tournament. Whereas I can remember the U.S. Open being about as boring as it could be on a Sunday, watch Retief Goosen just walk away from the field, or something like this happening at the British Open where you're half asleep anyway, and then the Masters with somebody, going super low and winning it. I think it's PGA, it's Masters 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, and then the other 2, in terms of entertainment value watching, at least in the last 20 years for me.
All right, we're going to go to our picks here, our Peachland Dental picks for the Charles Schwab Challenge, which is at the Colonial Country Club there in Fort Worth. I've played this. It's a short track, very tight on a small piece of property. I'm going to go with my first pick, JC, and I'm taking Max Homa.
That's a good one. If he gets that putter going, watch out. I tell you, a guy that played somewhat better in this PGA tournament, who's still looking for his first win on tour, but has all of the talent, all of the ability to win, and that's Cameron Young. I'm going to go with him.
Cam Young.
Wait a minute. Is he even in this? That's Carson Young. That's Carson Young.
Well, Carson's a good player too.
Yeah, I don't want to pick Carson though. How about I do this? Until I figure out if Cam Young's in this tournament, I'm going to go with the hometown guy. Give me Scotty Scheffler, please.
Well, there you go. Best player in the world. I will take Austin Eckroat. Played well. Just a good ball striker. Oklahoma State Cowboy. I just like his game.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'll take another Texan. I think this guy is slowly getting his game and his head together, and that's Jordan Spieth. I'm going to take him in Colonial.
All right, got 2 Longhorns.
Yep.
Would you like Ben Crenshaw next?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Keegan Bradley. I don't know why, but I'm taking Keegan Bradley.
Keegan Bradley's striking a chord for you there. All right, Keegan. All right, so I've got Spieth and I've got Scheffler playing.
You need another Longhorn? Do you need him to pick you out a Longhorn, JC?
No. You don't have to. I tell you, I think Tony Finau is ready to win one of these. I'm going to take Tony Finau.
Finau. You know who I love? Who is just, to me, is one of the most exciting guys on tour now. It's Heath Theegala.
Yes,
man, he hits the ball so solid, and he's a great putter, and he's got great charisma. He's fun to watch.
Take him. We'll pick him. Is he not even playing? I don't know.
We're just taking 3 this week.
Okay, so I've got the 2 horns, Spieth and Scheffler, along with who the hell did I just pick?
You have Scheffler, Spieth, and Finau. I have Eckroat, Homa, and Keegan Bradley. All right, JC, that's going to do it for you today.
Okay, sounds good. Good luck with Edgar.
All right, go study up on your on this case and let us know on Friday what should happen.
Okay, Friday sounds good. We'll see you then.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We'll take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. We'll ask him everything he knows about this lawsuit. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union.
Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Our gridiron sponsors are UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
The Fisher House is here for the families and veterans that come here to the VA for serious treatment. And we're here to give them a home away from home.
Really nice to meet you.
Well, welcome to our house.
Really blown away with the level of care, the level of service that they offer here. Some of it may be more routine, and some of it may be like, we gotta go now.
Yes.
Correct.
Because there's a ton to be said for coming through for people that chose a path, a little bit different path. That's why we're here today.
We're here to present these wonderful jerseys that Coach Billy Napier has so graciously given to the Fisher House that are going to be auctioned for the benefit of the house.
Anytime that we have a chance to give back to people who chose a career and a life of service and put their life at risk, right, to protect the simple things that we have access to each day, I think it's important that we do that. These jerseys are all for sale. They're on auction as we speak, right? And that goes all the way up until May 25th. I think this is an opportunity to not only purchase a pretty cool item, but also help the Fisher House at the same time.
We have 20 suites here at our house. That gives us the ability to serve between 1,200 and 1,500 families a year. It's for the serious treatment, the crisis in their life. So it's here that they find the comfort, find camaraderie with fellow guests. They're all going through the same thing at the same time. So they find that they're not alone here.
I would encourage anybody to do their homework on the Fisher House and get behind this cause.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're going to go back to the Titan More hotline, courtesy of Comfort 10. We're joined by Orlando Sentinel's Edgar Thompson. Good morning, Edgar. How you doing, bud?
Better than yesterday.
A little more relaxed today so far.
Hope so.
All right, let's jump right into it, Edgar. This lawsuit comes out. First of all, we had people talk about, did Kirby Smart have anything to do with this? And I said no, because this lawsuit's been going on for over a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell us what you know before we jump into some questions.
Well, Jaden Rashada and his family, I guess, are suing the University of Florida, are suing Billy Napier, Hugh Hathcock, and Marcus Castro Walker, the former NIL director for the Gators, for the failed $13.85 million NIL deal that both parties agreed to back in, November of 2022, to kind of secure his commitment, allegedly. This was the deal. And they're suing him for $10 million in damages and won a jury trial. So it's a story that hasn't gone away. It's like, I think Florida has thought this was behind it a number of times now, right? Billy, I don't think thought there was going to be any NCAA blowback, and that happened. The NCAA sent a letter that it's investigating the Gators for its role in this deal. And that's been put on the back burner by Charlie Baker, who says that all NIL cases are on pause. They'll probably just go away. And so you're thinking, okay, dodge that bullet. And now this comes out. Now, this apparently, as you said, this has been going on for a while. But to get Rashada's commitment, the Gators had to, or felt they had to, or Hathcock, Castro Walker, Eddie Rojas, the former Gator Collective head, and felt that they had to go all in on Rashada. I really don't understand it. This guy was the number 7 quarterback recruit. I get it. Anthony Richardson was gone. You didn't really have anything more than Jack Miller and at the time Jalen Kitna when this was all going on. Graham Mertz wasn't in the mix yet. So you might have felt desperate. You also might have felt Miami's kicking our butts with its collective. John Ruiz, the Life Wallet founder. We all know how early on Miami was just dominating the collective or the NAL space with that collective, just throwing money at all kinds of guys, right? And maybe they felt, hey, we need to, step up. And Rashada was committed to Miami for reportedly $9.5 million. So it's like, well, if they're paying him 9.5, we'll pay him this. I don't know how they came to this figure. It's absurd. And then here's a detail. A lot of people are, I've got a number of phone calls, a lot of blowback from people like, well, how it's a non-story and Billy wasn't, this is a joke. Billy wasn't ever involved in this. And I kind of always was under the assumption, Shane, that when this absurd deal came across his desk finally in early December of 2022, right? Billy put the kibosh on it. It was like, hold on, what are we doing here? Because remember, these Gator collectives and all this were third-party entities and they are raising funds. Florida Victorious and all this stuff, they can't be directly tied. Now there's more involvement now than there was then. Back then there was like church and state. You weren't allowed to really even be involved, allowed in quotes, because Marcus Castro Walker was obviously dealing with these people, but maybe Billy wasn't in the loop. And that was believable for sure. Well, then you hear or you read in this lawsuit, Billy apparently told Jaden Rashad on December 21, 2022, on signing day, hey, we will get you $1 million as a down payment toward this deal. Hugh Hathcock will wire you the money, but he's currently flying somewhere, okay? Go back to that day, Shane. We showed up to a press conference that was supposed to be at 3 o'clock, didn't begin until 5 o'clock. And Jaden Rashada originally didn't appear on the list of signees that the Gator PR people handed out, and then suddenly now he's in the fold. So something went on. So there's smoke toward that now too. I don't know, man. I mean, it's like this is where we're at, or this is where we were at in NIL. And on a smaller scale, to conclude, it makes me wonder, what are these negotiations like behind closed doors for any of these like top guys? Now it didn't get this out of control, but what were the negotiations or are for, Elijah Badger? A lot of people wanted that guy. And Billy said a week ago, Monday, that during the spring, it's almost like NFL free agency because these guys have leverage that they just don't have in the winter when there are a lot of guys. In the spring, there's only a few guys. So a guy like Elijah Badger, he was really like one of only a couple of really top receivers out there. So what was his negotiation leverage? It's the whole thing has become pay for play. It's what they didn't want it to become. And it's becoming public now. This is the craziness in this particular situation. But it does make me wonder, again, on a smaller scale, what the hell was going on with any of these kids that are coveted.
Yeah, it's, I said to JC earlier, whatever happens, I mean, everybody knows my take on NIL ever since it started. I got bashed by people, but I don't really care. It's how I feel. I think it's ridiculous. And what's embarrassing to me about this whole situation, and I said whether it's Florida, whether it's Georgia, Oklahoma, whoever, for anyone to offer a kid out of high school that we don't even know that can complete a curl route in collegiate football, that type of money, Edgar, over 80%, and I'm throwing that high percentage out there because I'm very confident, 80% of NFL players that play 4 years or so don't even make $13 million.
Yeah,
Not even
that's
close.
true. I mean,
Not even close. I don't even think
what's
they
the
make half
NFL
of that.
minimum? What's the NFL minimum? 7 now?
About 700 or 800, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's what about 80% of the NFL guys make, or the minimum, which
And
is
they're
great
giving
money.
this
But
kid $1 million, and
it's nuts. That's what's
allegedly
embarrassing to me, and just it's totally ridiculous. Let's get to some comments and questions here on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing.
Did I sum it up well? Because I mean, I am all over.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I feel like I'm all over the map with this thing.
I think this is where a lot of people have some questions. And Barone says, one of my old managers years ago got fired for illegally recording phone conversations here in Florida, a two-party consent. Company also settled out of court with the people he recorded to avoid suit. If Rashada's dad did that, it's proven with Florida law in effect, the Rashadas will find themselves being countersued. Have you heard a lot of comments about that whole recording conversations?
Well, the lawsuit claims that Harlan record Rashada. Look, Harlan Rashada is been shopping his kid around. I find it personally, now I'm not a father, right? But I find it abhorrent the way this guy is, pimped his kid around to the highest bidder. I mean, he went from Miami, then he gets to Florida, then it's like it doesn't work out here. He takes him to Arizona State, which is his alma mater. I guess he played there. And now he's at Georgia. I mean, what the hell, man? I mean, and the kid's from Northern California. I don't know what you think about, like, you have a son. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, let's talk about that for one. And then, if he recorded a phone call, Shane, if he's in California, and this is one of the things that came up, is California NIL is different than Florida NIL laws, which is a whole big issue with NIL, that it's a patchwork of different states, with different rules, which is why, like, Missouri, for example, is recruiting at a higher level because it has more laissez-faire NIL involvement. But California has different laws than Florida. So maybe if Harlan's recording a phone call that he's talking to Billy Napier, but he's in California, it's not applicable. I don't know that, but I'm just saying.
Well, like I said multiple times, when kids transfer multiple high schools, you've seen these kids that go to 4 different high schools in their career.
Absurd.
This guy's, I mean, you're right. They're shopping him around for money. And to me, it's embarrassing. Do I want to blame the kid? Probably not. This is an adult doing this. Those things never end well, quite honestly. And when it comes to the next level, they're huge red flags. I look at the quarterback at Florida State, DJ. I think I saw somewhere where his dad was shopping him. I mean, this is his third school in 3 years too. So I don't know. I think the whole thing is just nonsense. I don't know what's going to make of it. We have a question here on the Titan MR text line, Edgar. Is this a reason for the University of Florida to part ways with Billy Napier for due calls?
You got to wonder. I've not talked to anyone over there. I don't think people are picking up the phone over at UF to chat about this anytime. So next week I'll be at spring meetings in Destin, which is, an expensive trip in this day and age. We pick our spots, but I'm always determined to be at that just because it's a cornucopia of like sources with ADs and football and men's basketball and even women's basketball coaches there and other administrators and school presidents. So I'm glad I'm going. I think Matt Baker from Tampa is going too, and who's a heck of a reporter. We're gonna, I'm hoping to get Ben Sass. Got it, I hope Ben Sass doesn't watch your show because I don't want him to know I'm coming, but I definitely want to try to get his opinion on where this football program's at. We're talking about a guy who is cutting edge and a visionary and making bold changes at UF with DEI, agree with it or not, how it was handled or not, whatever. He's doing the NVIDIA AI Institute. He's got the Hamilton Center going. He is approaching this university with vision and boldness. And if he thinks that what's going on with this football program and this athletic department is the way he wants it to be, I'd be surprised. I'm not saying that means he's cleaning house, but they're on edge over there, and they should be. I mean, this is not a good look. I mean, it's an embarrassment nationally. Whether this lawsuit's frivolous or not, you don't want this out there. And all the behind the scenes stuff going on, it makes him look like inept on some level, and getting led up by the nose by, this opportunistic father. So whether it's cause to fire Billy Napier, they're not getting really Billy Napier on whatever we are, May 22nd. I mean, you ain't doing that. But it just gives more. If this season goes poorly and looks bad, he's probably could be gone anyway. If the season goes poorly and the football looks as bad as it has at times, you have another Kentucky no-show, another Utah game, another Arizona sideline mess, any of that stuff, and going 5-7, I don't know that he can save himself anyway. But they win 6-7 games, look pretty good doing it, don't have all that. You got to think he's back, but it's just more headwinds for the guy, man. Just last week, Billy said, I told this, did we talk about this anecdote? Was I on last week? About him watching the guy in the surf getting knocked around. He goes, I felt like that guy. Now he felt like he was on firm footing. He's feeling pretty good about things. Systems in place, the staff, the roster. He's feeling a lot better about things. And then you wake up and this happens. You almost got to feel for the guy a little bit, man. He can't get a break, right?
Yeah. Silverback Concrete builds for firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. We got Edgar Thompson on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tip. Let me get to a couple more of these.
Well, what do you think on that? Do you think this gives Florida? I don't know the legal. I mean, his contract's his contract. I mean, they can if they fire him for cause, the buyout of 25 whatever million after next season. I don't know if it completely goes away. I'm sure there'd be a negotiation with lawyers, but they're certainly not going to be paying the whole, 25 mil.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's ways around it. I don't know all the legalities of it, but like I told you, you just knew that this Jaden Rashada stuff, when it happened over a year ago, was never going to go away. You knew it was going to come to something like this eventually. Again, I just go back to I want to know why and who thought it was a good idea to offer that kind of money to a guy that you don't even know is worth a damn. Even if he is worth a damn, that's still ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, give us a couple more questions, and I'll give you a quicker, more overarching take on what I think happened.
Okay. Real quick, this one is regarding the Barone was asking, so they wore the gimmick black uniforms to fundraise, yet all the jerseys are number 23. Couldn't fundraise with actual game worn jersey. I think they did the reason it's 23 is because it's year 23. That I do know. All right, Rod says, Shane, ask Edgar, is this the worst the program has looked optically and internal since the Charlie Pell era at UF?
I mean, I wasn't here in the 80s. I don't know where the Galen Hall thing all landed before Steve Spurrier got here. But it's not good. I mean, Ron Zook going down to a fraternity house in 2004 wasn't a good look, but there also wasn't social media. Can you imagine Zook, all over social media, neck bulging, screaming at frat guys with Channing Crowder? That could have been bad. That would have been bad. But yes, that wasn't good. Dan Mullen had a couple of things. I mean, the Pack the Swamp thing after LSU, but there was a lot of different views about, COVID and all that at that point. I don't know, man. I mean, it's just more national headlines for the wrong reasons. And you're 11-14 after 2 seasons.
Yeah, so but if you win games this year, nobody remembers any of this.
No, like I said, if they win 6-7 games, even Aren't
Well,
they sticking with
Edgar,
this
I'm
guy?
I'm going out on a limb. I said this the other day. They will start the season 5-0.
Well, you could easily, well, I don't know about easily. You could see them doing that, but you could certainly see them being 5-2 going into that November gauntlet. It isn't, the schedule is not that daunting. But then again, you could also see them being 2-3 because we don't know how they're going to play and show up. Last year, that Utah game, I still can't get out of my head.
No,
That
I'm
was
with you. The Utah
awful
game
performance.
it was awful on both sides of the ball. There's no question about that.
And you had all off season to prepare for it. You looked like you hadn't even, prepared at all. They looked terrible that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. So Barone says NILs need to be heavily incentive based, not so much in terms of stats in the field, but things like grades, player appearances, charity work. At least the players will earn the money. They have to do a lot of charity work to earn it now, but it's
Well, how about earning a period? Like you arrive as a freshman, you're getting something. There is some, you're getting something. You're more than what you would be getting with the scholarship and all that, but you're not driving a Bentley SUV. You're not
that's
getting
ridiculous too.
$50,000 a month or whatever the heck some of these guys are getting. You're not getting $1 million signing bonuses. You've never even played it down at the college level.
The more you think about it, how ridiculous it really is. And when I told people years ago when this started, or a couple years ago, how much I was against it, they're like, the players deserve it. Well, the players deserve to be paid a percentage off all the jerseys that are sold with your number on them. The player deserves to go down to the local car dealership on a Saturday afternoon or Memorial Day and sign autographs and get paid. But he does not. I can't just say, Edgar Thompson, we're going to give you $300,000 to come play for us. That's not what it's intended for. And that's why it's a shit show, so to speak, right now. And it's only getting worse. And that's why you're driving college coaches that are great coaches out of the business, or they're trying to get to the NFL.
These young men do take high risk. As I spoke to a former player not long ago, very prominent former player, and lacrosse, for example, is playing for a Final Four on Friday, or at the Final Four. They're having a great year. Softball, really rolling. Those programs are paid for by football. Those kids, what's the injury risk in either of those sports? I mean, softball, shoulder, maybe turn an ankle. Lacrosse, you could blow an ACL out for sure. A physical game, a lot of cutting and running. That's it. That's the extreme. The extreme in college football is getting taken off on a body, one of those, whatever the boards, because you broke your neck maybe or something. And the severity of injuries and just waking up the next day after a game, you pay the price. You did it for years. So they are investing a lot of skin in the game. They probably deserve something, but not this. Here's my
I agree they deserve something. But I mean, what people don't realize with the Pell Grants and academic money and this, that, and the other they apply for through the state and stuff, they get thousands of dollars a month already in that. Then you add on top of this stuff that we're paying them per month. Look, I don't know. I know people disagree with me, but something needs to be done quickly, or we're going to see more and more situations like this. And I'm sure there's some out there that we just haven't heard about.
Well, that's what I'm saying on a smaller scale. Who knows what these negotiations are like if you're hearing all this going on. Let me say this real fast. I'll do this quickly. My take on it is you had a guy at the Gator Collective, Eddie Rojas, a former UF pitcher, who was determined to beat Miami at its own game. I think that's pretty evident. There's things that have come out. Eddie was there. Okay. You had Marcus Castro Walker, an NIL director who was not, in a lot of people's view at that point, really making headway in that space. You have a booster, Hugh Hathcock, who's really pretty recent. Mr. Hathcock hasn't really been that overly involved. I mean, he isn't like a Gail Lemoran, Gary Condren, Al Warrington, some of these guys. whose name's Cornblot, is it Cornblot or Cornblow? I'm talking about. These guys' names were on buildings for a while. Hugh Hathcock's fairly new to the game. He's getting, was maybe being fairly aggressive in this space. All these guys get together. They're like, we're going to beat Miami at its own game. There's a sense of a little bit of desperation because you need a quarterback. You want to make, right? All these kind of perfect storm of factors. Plus you have a coach who's coming from Louisiana, not usually recruiting guys at this level, Under Armour All-American types, right? Top 100 recruits, top 50 recruits, needing to get something going with a program that's, struggling. So you got all these people in a room trying to get, and I'm not saying Billy was in that room, but you know what I mean? So, and this is what you end up with. I think this was just a kind of a desperate move to get a kid, and they really they're paying for it now. No, we'll see ultimately where this lawsuit goes. I'm not confident that it's going anywhere, but you also have Rusty Harden, and this is a shark in a suit, man, coming after you. You do not want this guy coming after you. Look at the guys he's represented. I mean, he was like Deshaun Watson's lawyer in that cesspool of a lawsuit.
Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. Okay, a few more minutes here with Edgar. Edgar, let me just ask you this. Correct me if I'm wrong, because didn't both parties agree to tear up the agreement or whatever they did to part ways? Wasn't that reported, supposedly?
Well, I mean, the agreement was terminated, right?
Okay, that's what I meant.
Eddie
Okay,
Rojas terminated the agreement early December, but according to the lawsuit, Hathcock then took it on because he had his own Gator collective himself, Gator Guard, right? That the lawsuit says that Rojas terminated it, but Hathcock took it on and then gave him $150,000
to pay back Miami or something,
get
right?
out of the Miami deal, or to keep that in the background, or I don't know, man. Something like that. So, but then Hathcock, when it came time to really go the distance on this, was like, hold on, this is, I'm not paying 13 whatever 8 to this kid over 4 years. But it sounds like he was willing to pay $1 million signing bonus that they never received. Maybe that's what they're mad about. Shane, here's what I don't understand. Why didn't you just give the guy like $500,000 an NDA and just say, hey, thanks for everything. Sorry it didn't work out. That's nothing. And then this never happens.
Yeah. Anyway, it's I still every time you say the $13.5 million deal, I just cringe, because there's nobody in college football worthy of that amount of money. Not even your Heisman Trophy winners. It's nuts.
What's offensive to a guy like you who played as many years as you did at the level you did?
I guess because I know in the National Football League, there's 53 players on a roster. Then you got your 15 practice squads or whatever. But out of those 53, only about 45 of them, about 8 of them, 8 to 10, ton of money. Everybody else is minimum salary, which is tremendous money, but it does not equate to what they're throwing at this kid. And not even in like 8 to 9 years. So anyway, it's crazy. Edgar, we appreciate your time, my man. Get some rest.
No, I'm good. I got a bunch.
You got real quick, what stories you working on?
Yeah, man, I'm writing a story on John Dubois, the golfer who's kind of found his game in the nick of time heading into the postseason. I'm doing a lacrosse story on Amanda O'Leary, back to her second Final Four 12 years later. She makes one in her third year. She's thinking more to come. Well, this is the first one since. Really like the team, great girls. I've done some stories in recent weeks on them. Those are the true student athletes. They're really fun, infectious personalities, good students. And then softball's this weekend, man, and that team's rolling. That's a really good team. Tim Walton has a shot for his 3rd national title, I believe, with this team. So A lot going on. Baseball eliminated from the SECs last night, but I think it'll get in the tournament. And so, yeah, a lot going on, man. And for this to be dropped in our lap, the last thing anyone us want to be writing or talking about, to be honest.
No doubt. Edgar, great stuff as always. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it, man.
Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel joins us on the Titanable Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Hope everybody enjoyed today's program. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great day and take care.